The BYC provides services to queer and transgender homeless youth in Chicago's Boys Town neighborhood. And many of the youth that we serve are survivors of abuse. They were physically or emotionally abused. They were kicked out of their homes. Many of them are former DCF wards who had nowhere to go when they turned 18 and aged out of the system and ended up surviving on the streets of Chicago. A lot of them kind of flocked to Boys Town because they can find sex work there. When I was kicked out of my house when I was 18 years old, and I knew how lucky I was because I had friends who I could go stay with. I already had a full-time job to support myself and was able to get my way through school. And I knew how lucky I was when, after 4 months, I was actually able to move back into my home, and how lucky I was that there was a home for me to even go back to. But every day, coming into contact with so many displaced youth, it really haunts you with memories and emotions. And it's really easy to get overwhelmed when you understand what these kids have to live through every day, especially when you see the indifference of older gay populations who don't seem to be strong enough or willing to stand up and claim their youth and take care of them. And I can't imagine how they've forgotten what it would have meant to them if when they had been that age, someone had been there for them. But what did impact me the most was discovering this army of youth workers who were nurses, therapists, social workers, organizers who did think that our youth had value and did think that they were worth our time. And many of my coworkers were also survivors of abuse. Many of them were, people were just simply doing what they thought was the right thing. But we were all linked together. We were all a group of people, and since we were members of the community, we have the unique burden of taking care of these kids. But together we had this unique set of skills and experiences that collectively enables us to care for them like no one else would. And I'd always thought that I would never ever be able to hold down a job while still being true to myself. I'm a trans-identified, genderqueer person who was kicked out of their house at age 18. And I refuse to live my life in ways that society often views it as normal or acceptable behavior. But at the Rossi.AVI Center, I met other genderqueer, gender-bending, non-normative transsexual adults who were able to live this fulfilling life. They didn't have to change who they were to hold down a job, to date, to have a wide social circle, to be welcomed to their family, be it their nuclear family or one that they just had to carve out and create for themselves out of what they had. And I admire every single one of them. Their strength, their bravery, the compassion that they're able to show other people, those are all qualities that I hope people see in me or that someday that I could possibly live up to. They each made me realize that I had worth, me, and I had skills. I could be who I am, I can change the world, and I can have fun with it. And that was a revelation for me. I always thought that there was no one like me. And for the first time in my life, I found role models. I found heroes. I found people like me who were doing something that mattered, and I realized that I could too. And for the first time, I realized that as a former precariously housed trans-identified youth, I had unique qualities, unique experiences, and unique perspective that didn't handicap me from breaking into the professional world. It wouldn't completely stunt my life as I tried to fit into normal society while still being who I am. And I realized that it was because of who I am, and it was because of where I come from and what I come from that actually made me somebody who I thought that nobody wanted, valuable. I had something other people didn't, and I could use that to help people who weren't as fortunate as I was. And so while it was a really, really difficult decision, I decided to leave the Broadway Youth Center this year. I decided it was best for me to move on and be able to grow in new ways. So I've accepted an AmeriCorps Vista position at a different social service agency where I'll be in charge of legislative advocacy and public education to end homelessness. And drawing up PhD applications. I want to get my social policy PhD so I can research programs that impact queer and transgender communities. And I hope that I'll be able to learn so much from that and be able to do that. And I'll never forget his year of service. I will never forget my friends and coworkers from the BYC. I will never ever forget my team members, and how we've all been able to work together. I truly believe that in this program and at our host agencies, miracles happen every single day. I truly believe that, and I'm honored and blessed, and I consider myself